All right, this is the Ruler of the World lab. First thing I'm going to do, put a little hand sanitizer on my hand just to make sure none of the germs on my hands get onto the lab equipment. So the purpose of this lab is to practice measuring length using the metric system. The directions: at each table there will be a transparent measuring stick and a laminated sheet of paper with lines of varying lengths. Measure the lines and convert the lengths within the metric system. Right. So at each table you have one of these, which is what we're going to be using, and make sure that we use that metric side, the one that says centimeters. All right, so the question is, the meter stick is used to measure length. What is the resolution of the meter stick? Does the meter stick have an uncertainty digit? Why or why not? So you're looking at this one, right? So you're looking at this one now, and you'll notice that what is the resolution? What's the smallest interval that can be measured using this on the metric side? What do each one of these little dash marks represent? And then it asks you, does it have an uncertainty digit? Why or why not? So the next question is, use the metric side, the centimeters, of the transparent measuring stick to measure and record the length of all the line segments in centimeters in the data table on the Google Sheets attached to this assignment. So the first thing that it tells you to do is measure them. Right? So you're going to measure them. And there is an example on the sheet up here, and it tells you how to line it up. Line up the 0 at the edge of that, and you just look to see where it falls there. Now on this one, notice that the line segment goes past the 10, it goes 10.5, but also it's sort of halfway in between 10.5 and 10.6. So the measurement would be 10.55 centimeters. And you're going to do that for all of these, 1 through 10. All right. So once you do that, it does mention something about a Google Sheets. So before you put it on the table on your lab, use the Google Sheets. The Google Sheets will tell you if you have the accepted answer or not. So the line segment, you put the value in there. You do not put the unit. It will turn, these boxes will be white until you put something in there. If your answer is wrong, it'll turn red. If you get the accepted answer, then it will turn green. Once you have all of them green, then there'll be a little secret code at the bottom, just as an incentive to get the accepted answer for all of them. And right now it says your answer or answers are wrong. All right. So once you do that and you get the accepted answers, then you can put the measured length here. Right. So that's what you get that. Then you can convert using this metric conversion chart, either found on this lab or you can look this one up online. Convert it to centimeters, convert it to millimeters, then you convert it to kilometers. So all of these measurements, you're just converting it. That's why it says measured and then converted measurements. So then the next part of this lab, you're going to use the wooden meter stick as well as that transparent ruler. So it says, place the transparent measuring stick on top of the wooden meter stick and be sure to line up the zeros mark. So this one has a little bit on the edge that isn't counting for anything, but line up the 0 with the 0 on the meter stick and make sure they're both on the meter side. So then it asks you, well, do the lines match up perfectly? So if I'm looking at this, do all those small lines match up perfectly? And if they don't, it's going to be easier to see farther down, closer to that 30 centimeter mark, than it would be down at the 0, because if they don't, the error is just going to add up over and over. So then the next question asks you, well, if they don't match up, what could be done to figure out which measuring stick is more accurate? So which one is more accurate? If I have two competing measurements for length, for the same length, what could be done to figure out what's more accurate? Now, the next questions help you out. It says, what is used to define the meter? And then it says this might have to be looked up. Like, what's used to define? If I was going to compare these two to something, what could we compare that to figure out which one's more accurate? Then it gives you a little hint. The metric system is used in science because all the units, all those measurements, are based on something. So what are they all based on? So then we have those conclusion questions. When using the metric system, did converting the units of the measurements change the number of significant figures of those measurements? Why do you think this is? And then it gives you a little prompt down at the bottom of that question. It says, use the words resolution, uncertainty digit, and significant figures in your answer. If you use all three of those, you can you'll be able to get that answer. The next question says, identify any systematic errors that were or could have been in this experiment. What was done or could be done to mitigate the systematic errors? Would systematic errors affect the accuracy or precision of this experiment? So when we do an experiment, it's important to talk about what errors could have been present. And then the last question asks you, what is the secret code from that Google Sheets? So once you get the accepted value for all of these, this turns into a secret code. What is that code? Last thing I'm going to do, put a little hand sanitizer on my hand just to re-sanitize my hands. And once again, this is the Ruler of the World Lab.